So, hello everyone, welcome. I hope you are all safe and taking care of yourself. My name is Vrijraj, and I'm a Google developer expert for web technology and Firebase. Also, I'm running a GDG Jalandhar community in Punjab region. So, like, like in the previous day, we have talked about Angular, like how we can create a web application with the help of Angular, and then we have talked about the Angular properties and many more things. So today I'm going to talk about the front end, the technologies we can use for creating a web applications, or maybe we can create single page web application with the help of React. So today I'm going to talk about React.js. So like today we have an agenda. Like first I'll talk about like what is React and why there are a lot of companies who are using React for building web applications. And the third one we'll talk about like there are a lot of list of companies who are using React for building web applications. And then next I'll talk about like if you have a knowledge of React.js, then how you can grab the opportunities or maybe job opportunities related to React. And then we'll talk about the career scope and we will create a simple web application with the help of React. So let's get started. So React, any idea like do you have any experience with React or its similar library or something else like Bootstrap and all? Does anyone has an experience with React or any idea? Okay, so React is a like open source JavaScript library. Basically, like if I talk about, we have a front end technologies like where we have a framework as well as libraries. So like earlier we have talked about Vue.js. Vue.js is a JavaScript framework as well as Angular is a JavaScript framework. So framework is just like as an entire complete solution. Within a solutions, you can create a complete web applications. But React is a JavaScript library. This is the main difference between Angular, React, and the Vue. So, like where Angular and Vue is a JavaScript framework, and React is a JavaScript library. And you can use React.js as a JavaScript library for building like complex UI or complex web applications, or you can create a complex components with the help of React as a library. And this library is being maintained by the Facebook as well as the developer communities and the companies who are using React for the productions purpose. So React is most popular just because of it's a JavaScript library. The size of the library is very less because if you are using framework, so framework is a complete entire solutions. Like inside framework, there are a lot of things like say component, routing modules, state management things, or maybe there are some HTTP request related modules. But if you are using React, React is a library where you just need to import those things externally in your web applications. So that's why it's a library, and the size of the library is very less as compared to the other things. So now I'll talk about like why React. The first one part is simplicity. Simplicity is just like if you have a basic idea about JavaScript, like how we can create a variable, how we can call the functions, how we can use the oops concept in JavaScript, how we can use the ECMAScript syntax in the JavaScript part. See, this is very easy for you to learn the React part. And React is following the component based approach. Like you can reuse the code and you can create a separate component, for example, navigation bar component, or you can create a separate component for the footer and you can reuse those components in different views. Okay, so next one is also like React is well defined. Like React is having a life cycle model, and with the help of plain JavaScript, you can create very simple, beautiful, professional type of web applications. And even with the help of React, you can also create mobile applications. And the second one part is like it is easy to learn because you just need a basic knowledge of programming as well as the HTML, CSS, and the JavaScript part. But for JavaScript, you just need a basic knowledge of object-oriented programming and the ECMAScript part, ES6. This is the recommended version for learning a React. And then the third one part is native approach. React can be used for creating a mobile applications. Like if you have any ideas, like there are a lot of applications which is built with React, there is a specific like technology is called as React Native. So React Native is a technology which is basically at the end they are working on React, and with the help of React Native, you can create a like single create a web applications that, or you can use single code base with the help of single code base you can generate Android application as well as you can generate iOS applications. You just need to manage one single code base, and with the help of one single code base you can create a website as well as Android applications and the iOS applications, and so that you can like get more time for development part. Okay. The next one part is data binding. Data binding is just like we did in Vue. Like we can use double curly braces, or we can use double curly braces similarly in the Angular for binding a data. Like we have a data, let's say variable, we can print the data. So this is a part of data binding. So similarly, we can achieve those things in React. So here we have a one-way data binding concept that we can do with the help of flux control. There is some concept in React that we can use. And the next one part is performance. Performance, like if I talk about like React does not offer any concept of pre-built container of dependencies. Like there are no inside pre-built functionality related to like performance of your web applications. But you can use Browserify or maybe Require.js, ECMAScript 6 modular approach for performance related things. You can use it, and React.js is like like you can inject the dependencies and a lot of things for the performance related things. It's totally up to you. And the next one part is testability. Is like you can test your web applications with the help of React in easy way, because React is it's a kind of functional approach. So you can test your applications as a functions of the state, and you can get easily create. And there are a lot of organizations that are using React for creating a complex web application as well as simple web applications. So like React is supporting like there are a lot of another UI UI libraries you can use for creating a React web applications. Let's say you can go for material designing guidelines. There is a separate code base. You can use material component for creating those UI with the help of React.js. So if I talk about the companies who are using React for their production ready applications, so you can check out the link. Let's say Netflix. So Netflix is using React for creating entire architecture web applications. Similarly for Khan Academy, then we have Asana, Facebook, PayPal, Instacart, Uber Eats, Airbnb, OkCupid. There are a lot of companies who are using React for production ready applications, as well as in India we have a huge market for the React as a technologies. So now, like if you want to check more about like React, like there are a lot of project which is built with React. So you can search on Google made with React.js. And here we have a link made with reactjs.com, and you can check out the list of project which is basically built with React. And then you can also check out the GitHub repository where you will get some ideas like how what are the best practices for creating a React applications. So now I'll talk about job opportunities in React. So if I talk about in India's market, like if you go to the south side, so there are a lot of job opportunities related to React. Like if you have experience, like at least 6 months or maybe 1 years of experience in the React, so you can easily grab the jobs related to React developer or maybe the JavaScript developer, where you have to mainly work on the React part. And like if you can move to the let's say North India side, then we have a Delhi NCR or Chandigarh region. So here also you can get the job opportunities related to React. And you can also check out the link I have mentioned in the slide trends.google.com. Here we have a comparison between Vue, Angular, and React. You can check out those things like where we can get the jobs, the reason wise and the city wise. Okay, so next one part is resources. Like if you want to start your career in the React, so you can check out the React documentation. These documentation are very easy, but there is a prerequisite is with just a basic knowledge of HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, like how we can create uh, the HTML page, how we can design the page, how we can use JavaScript, like how we can print the data, JavaScript variable in the HTML part with the help of document or get element by ID and dot value. You can do that with the help of these things. And then you can go for React documentation, and these documentation are is very easy for developers. Like you just need to follow the guidelines, like there are step by step approach where you can use the React applications. And also like how we can start, like you can create a React applications in two way. So first one is either you can load the JavaScript library of React in your HTML page, or you can use the npm module. So there is a module, and you can install npx module, and then you can create a React application with the help of these module or CLI services. Okay, so now I'll talk about like how we can create a simple web applications. Like that application we have created with the help of Vue as well as Angular. Now we will create same application with the help of React, and we will explore like how we can uh, use the basic functionality of React. So like I'm using Stackbridge. I'm sharing my link. Here we have a Stackbridge. So you can open the Stackbase, and this is a UI for Stackbase. Here you can create some web applications online. Let's say you can use Node.js if you want to create a simple project with the help of Node.js, React, TypeScript, JavaScript, Angular. There are a lot of things. So now I'm working on React, so I'll click on the React button. So it will create a simple web application with the help of boilerplate of your React applications. So here we have a project architecture. This is a project architecture for React applications. So we have a SRC directory, and then we have a public directory. Inside public directory, there is a HTML page, and inside HTML we have a div element. So inside div element, there is a ID root, and this root ID, like we use, like if you have experience with JavaScript, like how we can print the data in JavaScript, in HTML with the help of JavaScript, you can define some ID, and then you can write the logic in JavaScript. Let's say document dot get element by ID dot inner HTML is equal to something. So similarly, React is following the same architecture. Like we have a SRC directory. Inside SRC directory, there is a file index.js file, and this is a modular architecture. Like we can create a separate modules in the React, so we can import those module, which is a predefined module in React. We are importing those module. Let's say I'm importing React and React DOM. This is a basic like module for the React, and also I'm importing the app component. So this is the app component, and I'm importing those component, and then I will render those things on the root part. So here we have a root ID is equal to root. Okay, now this is a React component, and inside React component I can import the React library. I can import the CSS part. Like if I have a style.css file, here we can write the CSS code. And this is a by default like functional component. Here we have a like here in the React you have to work on JSX, JavaScript state extensions. So here we can work on the React part. Basically written here, there will be a one HTML element. Inside one HTML element, you can pass the multiple element HTML. So here we have HTML element is div. Inside you can pass the multiple HTML element. Okay, so now I'll show you how we can create a variables. So here, this is the component. Here, I will create a variable in the JavaScript with the help of let keyword. So I'll let my variable name is a, and we can pass the value. Let's say my value is 34. So I can use the semicolon, or if you don't want to use semicolon, it's totally up to you. Okay, so I have created a variable outside written part with the help of let keyword, and then we can print the variable. So like if I want to print the value of a inside here, so if I write a directly, this will consider as a string. Okay. Now how we can print the variables? So you can use single curly braces. Like if you have experience with maybe Angular or maybe React. So you have to use double curly braces for data binding. But here for the data binding, you have to use single curly braces. Okay. So with the help of single curly braces, you can pass the data, and then you can print the variable. Now let's create another variable. So I'll create another variable. Let's say b is equal to 5. Okay, so I can also print the value of b. So here, let's say I will define the p tag, and then I will close the p tag. and then we have a right. We can write value of a is equal to my value of a is this one, and similarly we can write value of b is equal to b, and we can remove this one as of now, and just we are getting this value of a is equal to 34, value of b is equal to here. Okay, also you can perform arithmetic operations. Let's say I wanted to perform arithmetic operations. Let's say sum of a and b is equal to a plus b. So here we can write sum of a. So how we can print the variable with the help of single curly braces. So a and value b. So we can pass the value b is equal to, we can sum perform this arithmetic operations. Here we have a so the value of 34 and 5 is equal to 39. Okay, so this is a very easy, like you can call, you can like perform the, like you can print the data in with the help of single curly braces. You can perform arithmetic operations, and like if you want to call some functions, let's create a button. So now I'll create a button. Here we have a HTML button, and like here we can write, let's say so message. Okay, so this is a button. When I click on this particular button, I want to see some output. So here we can write on click. So this is a on click method. In React, you just need to call the functions. Now here we need to call the functions. So here we can use curly single curly braces, and then we need to define the function's name. So where you can define the function's name. So here we can create a function's name. Let's say my function's name is show data. So I'll create a functions show data, and then this is a function, and inside we can define the definition of our functions. So maybe here we can write console.log, and this one is hello. Okay. So what I'll do, I will call this function. So I can call these functions here, and when I click on this particular button, we are getting this data in the console window. Here we have a hello. Okay. Is till that now any confusion or doubt, like how we can bind the data, how we can perform simple operation like arithmetic operations, and also we can call the functions, or we can perform some actions with the help of a button. Yeah. So next part, I will talk about like how we can call the APIs. So yeah. Okay, so now I will implement the same thing like we did for Vue.js and as well as for the Angular. So we will use GitHub APIs, and we will call the APIs, and we will print the data uh, that we are getting from the API. So what I'll do here, so like I will create another functions, like my functions name is get data, which will we will get the data from the API end. So here we have a function's name is get data. Here we can define the logic for APIs. Okay, so how we can collect the data from the APIs? So you can use fetch functions. So here we have a fetch method. Here you can pass the ID, URL of your GitHub APIs. So let's say my URL is api.github.com/user, and this will work as a JavaScript promises. So you can handle with the help of the end block, and after the end block, we will receive this promise as a result part, and then we have a result, and you can convert those results into the JSON part, and again this will work as a JavaScript promise. So here you have a final data. You can print the data in the console window. Let's say I will print the data in the console window. Okay, and if there are any issues or the technical issues, maybe like if this promise is reject, so you can handle with the help of catch block. So here we have a catch block, and you can print the data with the help of console.log, and that's it. So now you need to call this API. So you need to call these functions. How we can call these functions? So let's create a button. So I will click copy this one, and I will paste it here. Okay. So now what I do here, like we can write the function's name is, here we write get data from API, and then my function's name is this one. Function's name is get data. So I'll use get data. Okay, so I'm ready. Here we have output. So when I click on this particular button, and then we have data which is coming from APIs. Okay, so here we have a list of objects. So inside first object, these all are the properties. Now we need to print these data in the UI part. So for implementing React, like we have a data, and let's create a user. So let's say I'm creating a let users is equal to, let's say, blank array, and yeah, so this is a by default blank array, and like in general whatever we did for Angular and Vue, so we have created a default array, and then we will pass the data, like we will pass this like users is equal to data, but we cannot do that things in React directly. Here we have a concept of state, so you have to use the state in the React. So first you need to use state as a part. So what I'll do here, I will load use state. So this is a state part in the React, like you need to handle the state, like whatever, like we want to change some data, so you need to create a state for each data, let's say variable. So we have a use state, and then you can define, let's say I'm defining const let. Here we can write square bracket, and then we can write use state. Okay, so now my array name is my, let's say my array name is users. Okay, so what will be the default value of this array? This is a blank. Okay, now like if we are if I want to update the data of array, or array means the user, so we can update the data. So let's say here we can define the variable function's name is set users. So with the help of set user, you can update the user as an array, and this user as an array by default value is square bracket, because this is the by default value. Okay, so now we have a data, and we can call this set user. Like here we have a set user, we can pass the data, and that's it. Okay, so here what I'm doing, I'm just passing like this data into set user part, because it will update the user as array. Okay, now we have updated the user array. So now we can print the data. So here we can write the logic. So let's say I wanted to write the logic for printing a data. So here we have a users, which is a JavaScript object. What we can do here, we can apply, let's say for, or you can use for each, or maybe you can use map. It's totally up to you. So here we can use higher order functions name is users map, and then this will give you the one by one user. Here we have a one by one user, and then we can use the p tag, like inside p tag. Here we have a p tag. Okay, and this is a single JavaScript object, and here we can print the data. So here we can write, let's say I'll write user dot, from the login field I can get the username. So I will save the logic, I will run call the APIs, and here I will get the data in few seconds. Let me check if it's true. Users let bracket calling these functions, and my functions name fetch APIs response we are getting, we are converting JSON, then we have a data, and then we are passing this data set users, so then we have the users, and then we have a data. So here we have a right logic user dot map. Here we are getting user, and then we have a user dot. Okay, set users state. Maybe you can check out here console.log for debugging purpose users. Okay, so I'll call the APIs. Here we have a data. This is not going to update. Maybe users. Converting. Complete functions calling users.map. Here we are getting a single object and we can print the object with the help of the login. Okay, I can remove. Okay, yeah, this is the logic. Like with the help of like maybe there are some maybe there might be some technical issue. So this is how like we can call like create a simple project with the help of React. Like we can create a variables like we have a concept like we can use let keyword or maybe const keyword, and then we can print the data with the help of single curly braces. Like we have a single curly braces, and then we pass the value. And if you want to call some functions, so you have to use onClick, and inside onClick you can pass curly braces and the function's name. So here we have a function's name. I don't know exactly what's going on in use state part. Maybe I will replace support. Here we are getting the data. I don't know why this code is happening. Yeah, the same thing like I'm calling like we have created a functions name. Functions name is get data, and then we are calling the APIs, and then we have a response. We are converting that response with the in JSON, and then this will work as a JavaScript promises. So we have data, and then we have created the use state as a state part in the React. So we have set the state like we are passing the value of the this data inside this users as a array, and then we can print those data. Like let's create a div element, and then we can write user.map, which is a higher order functions, and then this will give me one by one JavaScript object of GitHub user, and then we can print the data. Like we can use p tag and then user.login. So this is how we can create a simple project, and there will be a separate week for React. Like we will explore React from beginner to the intermediate level. Like we will create a simple web applications and complex applications with the help of React in upcoming month. So like this session is give you the overview about React, like what is React, and what are the job opportunities, what are the career scope for React, and how we can create a simple applications and simple fundamental knowledge about the React. So yeah, so that's all from my end. So if you have any questions, you can ask your questions. Yeah, I'm open for the questions. Thank you so much.